Hi YouTube, welcome back to Wtf Rc Cars. So we got a video on the ST8 and the new released FS Sr12. So this is a 12 channel receiver that will be compatible with the ST8. So you'll have full 12 channels assignable. It's also 3.5 to 9 volt operating voltage. You've got BVD port, you've also got the sense port, and you've also got the iBus port, and it's one of the dual antennas receivers, so you'll get quite good range with this one. Does come with the battery voltage detection cable, so that's all bundled in with it. But to use this, you're going to need the latest firmware update. So let me get the change log. So this firmware will be 1041, and there's two different versions of this as well, because it's quite a full-featured firmware update. So the actual gimbals, there's two versions of firmware. You can now swap the gimbals between potentiometers and hall sensors. So make sure, if you're going to update it, and if you are going to swap these out for hall sensors or potentiometers, if you're going to switch between the two, make sure you download the correct firmware. It is a nice option, so if you prefer hall sensors to potentiometers, you can now swap the gimbals out for them, and there's matching firmware. But we've also got a bunch of other changes, so bear with me on this one. So we have track mix function of engineering vehicle model is added with assignable channels. Helicopter model, change channel 3 and channel 6 from mix control to shared J3 stick in pitch curve function. Cancel swish plate function for gyroscope function. Mid neutral position range value and step value can now be set. TX set, so helicopter mode swish plate type function is changed from multiple to H1. System setting, change the default value of brightness LCD, contrast grade, vibration intensity, time, backlight and volume. After transmitters enter screen off state, you can operate the scroll menu or scroll menu exit power switch to exit the screen off state, so to bring it back on. Trainer menu, state changed, change state to mode to choose the trainer mode or student mode. RX set, GPS settings, solve the problem of failure to view the data after disconnection of GPS sensor. And also solve the problem of in delay adapting FS Wtf wireless trainer module to FS ST8 as trainer control. Change the state of trainer function mode to set as trainer or student. So quite a lot to cover in this one, or quite a lot of things have changed in this firmware. Mainly the fact that the ST8 is now full 12 channel. So let's get up to the PC, show you how to connect this and take you through the update process.
Right, so first thing we're going to want to do is head on over to flysky-cn.com, and if we go to products, then you can scroll down and you'll find FS ST8. So if we click on here, we then want downloads and upgrades. So you've got user manual, quick start guide, change log in case you're interested in what's changed, and then we've got the Hall stick firmware and potentiometer, and we've also got Flysky Assistant. So if we click on the Flysky Assistant, and then we're going to have to drop this into his downloads folder. So once we've got this downloaded, you're going to want to double click on it. You'll get a UAC prompt that'll ask you if you want to continue. Then let's clear it up a bit. So you'll get this screen asking you where you want to install it, and we want to create a desktop shortcut, and then it'll ask us if you want to launch Flysky Assistant, so we can click yes on that one. and now we just have to wait for it to connect to server. So don't worry about it being really slow, it's something Flysky's working on, it will connect eventually. So once we've got it all signed in, I've got videos on how to set it up, how to register and everything, so if you have a look in some playlists, and I'll link it at the end of this video or pop it in the description, one or two. But all we need to do now is power up our transmitter and have it connected to the PC via USB-C cable. So once you connect it to your PC, it'll light up and say online device settings. If it doesn't show up the first time you connect it, just reconnect your controller a few times, it'll just be Windows installing drivers. But basically, we click into device and we can see that we've got a firmware update option. We can see current hardware and the current firmware we're on. So what we want to do first is go to export, load as channel memories. Then I just find it easier to select all because it doesn't take very long, and then click export. You'll get an option asking you where you want to save this. So let's go all the way up to the top, go to his desktop, and then I've got an assistant folder. Once you go into there, create yourself an ST8 folder. You can go into there, and then I just find it handy to name the file on the current date. So we got 15th of January 23, and then we press save, and this will just back up all your model memories in case anything goes wrong and you need to restore them. Always good to have a backup. So once we've got them backed up, if you want to check and just make sure your file's been created, you should have a file FS Sr12, that's your backup. So then we should be able to click on update. We should be able to click on firmware update, telling you need to back up because it may erase all your data, and we don't need to do that. So we've got multiple options. If you've swapped it out for hall sensors, click on that one. If you're running the stock potentiometers, click on that one. So we can go into it. You've got the instructions that you can click on and download. So then we can click continue. It'll download the update file now from Flysky. Then your controller will automatically change to a screen what says updating, do not operate. And it's important that you have a decent quality USB-C cable. You don't want to be using cheap nasty cables or extremely long cables or anything like that. You want a good quality USB, and make sure it's a data cable. So the transmitter will then go off. It says updated successfully. So let's see if we can power us transmitter back up. So it will go into the stock menu and stock settings. So we now have the transmitter all back on. So now we need to restore as model memories. So once we go back in and it's refreshed, we've got 1042, or you can click the refresh option. But we're now going to want to import load TX model memory. Now it should take you back to the folder you've got it in, or you can browse back to it. But if we select that and then select open, and this should give us all those models that are saved in that file. We click import. You will get a screen on your transmitter saying that it's updating its models. So we select the ones we want, we click add, and we press OK. And then you'll get a screen saying data is transferring. And then that should be it. You should be back, and as you can see on mine, it's changed the lights back to green, which I had set. So we've got all those model memories back on. So other than the assistant software being a little bit sort of slow to react, it's actually quite a nice process. There's no going on to transmit around to put it in update mode or anything, which is kind of cool. But let's drop back to studio and see if we now have a full 12 channels and see if we've got full compatibility with the FS Sr12 receiver that we've got. Right, so first we're going to need to power on. I don't want to set failsafe, no, go away. So as model select, let's make sure we're on a new one. And then we'll just back out. Then you want to go into your menu. You want to go to TX set. And the first thing we're going to want to do is calibrate everything. So make sure they're all calibrated. And then calibrate the top ones. So that's all done. Then let's have a look. So we're going to need to go to switch settings and then all the way down through here, and then you'll come to channel number. Select that, and then we can move it all the way up to 12. So then if we drop back out, bind settings. Here you can change the frequency that you're going to be running at. So I think most of our servos are capable of 333, so we'll set it to that to start with. Now you've got different bind modes. So two-way if you want all the telemetry, and then you've got fast and I think the other one's regular. I think it is, or routine, that's it. So routine will give you a stronger connection, fast will give you faster response time. Stay on 333. But basically, we've now got multiple ways of binding this. So you can either plug a bind plug into the bind socket, or you can turn it on with button held down, or you can turn it on, and if it's not bound after so long, it'll look for summits to bind to, I believe. So let's see what we've got. So if we just power it up and don't press anything, let's see what it does. No, that's not doing out. So let's press an alt bind button. That puts it into bind mode. So you can either turn it on with the bind button held, turn it on with the bind plug-in, or turn it on, and if it's not bound to your controller, you can hold the bind button for 3 seconds. But basically, there's multiple ways to bind these things, and they all work. So once we've got this set up, you can then go in and you've got all the options of setting what dials and buttons and switches you want, as always. So yeah, that's it. Fully working 12 channel. So let's see if I've got a servo. So we've got a servo. Let's see if we can plug this into channel 12 and assign anything to it. So there we go. So yep, fully assignable, all 12 channels, so all the way up to channel 12. You've also got the servo one for iBus, sensors, and the BVD. We've got RX voltage being sent back. So battery voltage is currently detecting 0. So if we plug the positive into the positive on there, yep, so now we're getting the battery voltage monitor as well. And you can go through menu and you can choose various ones of these to decide whether you want it on home page or not. But you can only have 3 sensors, so we'd have to drop one of these off. So if we change that and then go back and change that to on. You can also set the alarm type and everything on there. So battery voltage. So yeah, it does fully work. All 12 channels fully controllable and assignable. So let's wrap this one up.
So there you have it. The Flysky ST8 is now full 12 channel. You can swap the firmware for the potentiometer or hall sensors if you want the magnetic hall sensor gimbals instead. And we do have the FS Sr12 receiver, full 12 channel receiver with battery voltage monitoring and everything, all fully connected. All 12 channels are assignable. So yeah, cracking little controller, especially for the price and the fact that you've now got the option of having hall sensors or potentiometer gimbals. Everybody's got their own preference depending what you're using them for. I, at the minute, am only using this for RC cars, but I will be interested in looking at maybe tracked vehicles or some sort of heavy machinery type RCs, and I think this would be a cracking controller, especially with all the extra buttons and dials and switches that you've got that you can set. So we've got a whole bunch of 2 and 3 position switches, plenty of variable dials, and plenty of control. So might be an interesting one for maybe a tank or a truck. Do have a whole load of options that you can control on this one. So thanks again for watching Wtf Rc Cars. If you like this kind of content, don't forget to like and subscribe, hit the notification bell, share to friends and family, and I'll catch you guys again in the next one.